Hello there, and welcome to the Sleeping Science channel. Tonight we'll drift through the quiet architecture of your own nature, a journey into the biology of connection, where the body is designed not for conflict, but for a deep, resonant peace. It is a place where the science of survival reveals itself to be a science of gentleness, proving that the machinery of your mind is wired to seek comfort just as surely as your lungs are wired to seek air. We will walk through the microscopic landscapes of trust, observing how the nervous system softens, how the heart settles into a rhythm of safety, and how the very chemistry of your blood is composed to bring you home to rest. Perhaps the day has been filled with the necessary friction of the world, the loud demands of movement and response that keep the senses sharp. It is natural to feel the echo of that vigilance now, a humming wire of attention that hesitates to slacken even when the lights are dim. But there is no need to force the quiet to come, for it is already waiting within the structure of your cells, a blueprint that has been carried down through thousands of generations. You do not have to build this peace. You only have to allow the body to remember the way back to it. Let your shoulders rest. Let gravity hold you as the oldest companion you have known. Allow the weight of your limbs to sink into the mattress, acknowledging that the earth is sturdy enough to carry you without your assistance. There is nothing left to monitor, no horizon that needs to be scanned for changes, and no signal that requires an answer. The systems of alert can power down now, one by one, like lights turning off in a large house, leaving only the soft, warm glow of the hearth burning in the center of the room. If this calm space brings you peace, consider sharing it. It helps other wandering minds find their way here too. In a world that often hurries, the act of slowing down is a gift we give to ourselves, but also a signal we send to others, a reminder that rest is safe and necessary. By being here, breathing slowly, you are already participating in the vast, invisible network of calm that we will explore tonight. Now, let's begin. The story of your tranquility begins in the center of the chest, where the heart keeps its steady, rhythmic time. It is here that the body's most ancient wisdom resides, a knowledge that predates language and thought, understanding that survival is best secured through rhythm and cooperation. The heart is often imagined as a drum of excitement, but in the quiet hours, it acts as a metronome of safety, sending a pressurized wave of reassurance to every corner of your frame. When the world quiets, the heart does not simply slow down by chance. It is guided by a sophisticated system of brakes, a neurological grace that gently eases the tempo. This deceleration is the work of the vagus nerve, a wandering stream of fibers that travels from the base of the brain down through the neck, wrapping around the vocal cords, the heart, and the gut. It is the great connector, the internal highway of peace that informs the organs that the danger has passed. When you exhale, long and slow, you are physically stimulating this nerve, pulling gently on the lever that lowers the heart rate. It is a biological conversation between the breath and the pulse, a whisper from the lungs to the blood that says, "All is well, you can rest now," and quietly, the system restores itself. As the vagus nerve activates, a profound shift occurs in the way the body perceives the space around it. The muscles of the middle ear, which are often tuned to high frequencies to catch the snap of a twig or a sudden cry, begin to relax. They shift their tension, tuning out the background noise of the environment and tuning in to the lower, warmer frequencies associated with the human voice and soothing sounds. You are physically adjusting your hearing to receive comfort, a microscopic change that signals a readiness to listen rather than to react, to absorb the hum of silence rather than the spike of alarm. This softening spreads upward to the eyes, where the muscles that control focus begin to let go of their tight grip. During the day, vision is sharp, foveal, and intense, designed to pinpoint details and analyze data with rigorous precision. But now, under the influence of the parasympathetic tide, the gaze widens and diffuses, becoming panoramic and soft. Even behind closed lids, the eyes settle into their orbits, releasing the need to track movement. The visual cortex dims its lights, accepting that there is nothing more to see, allowing the darkness to become a velvet curtain of rest. The biology of this moment is not merely a cessation of activity, but the engagement of a specific restorative mode. This is the rest and digest state, though it is perhaps more beautifully understood as the mend and befriend system. In this state, the body redirects its energy from the outer limbs, the legs that run, the arms that reach, and sends it inward, pooling warmth around the vital organs. You might feel this as a gentle heaviness in the hands and feet, a sensation that the extremities are drifting further away, while the core of you remains warm and centered. It is a return to the baseline of your design. For millions of years, the ability to activate this calm state was just as critical to survival as the ability to run. The ancestors who could not settle, who could not lower their cortisol and rest deep within the safety of the tribe, could not repair their tissues or consolidate their memories. Your capacity to lie here now, heavy and loose, is an evolutionary triumph, a testament to the fact that your lineage learned how to trust the quiet. You are the descendant of those who knew how to find peace in the dark, and peace hums through the body. Deeper still, within the twisting corridors of the brainstem, chemical messengers are being released like drowsy fireflies into the bloodstream. Acetylcholine acts as a tranquilizer for the heart, a molecular signal that dampens the electrical excitability of the cardiac cells. It is a gentle hand placed on the shoulder of the heart, slowing the beat not by force, but by suggestion. The blood pressure dips, the vessel walls relax and widen, and the flow of life through your veins becomes a lazy river, moving with an easy, unhurried current that nourishes without pressure. At the same time, the production of cortisol, the hormone of mobilization and alertness, is halted. The adrenal glands, which sit atop the kidneys like vigilant sentries, receive the order to stand down. They cease their production of urgency, allowing the residual stress hormones to be metabolized and washed away. It is a chemical cleansing, a silent tide that sweeps the shores of the body clean of the day's debris. What remains is a neutral, balanced chemistry, a pH of serenity that bathes every cell in a fluid of recovery. As the chemistry shifts, the breath deepens naturally, moving from the upper chest down into the curve of the belly. This is the diaphragm finding its full range of motion, a grand domed muscle that massages the internal organs with every inhalation. When you breathe into the lower lungs, you stimulate the relaxation response further, creating a self-sustaining loop of calm. The deeper you breathe, the safer you feel. The safer you feel, the deeper you breathe. It is a perfect circle of biological feedback, a mechanism designed to spiral you gently downward into sleep. Consider the intricate beauty of the throat during this process. The vocal cords, which may have spent the day vibrating with speech and effort, now hang loose and open. The pathways of air are unobstructed, allowing the breath to pass through with a soft, hollow sound, like wind moving through a canyon. This sound, the rhythmic hush of your own respiration, is the most fundamental lullaby. It is the first sound you ever heard, the pulse of existence that says you are alive, you are here, and you are functioning perfectly without the need for conscious control. And the breath holds its rhythm. This descent into calm is also a journey into the social nature of your biology. The nervous system is not a solitary island. It is a receiver, constantly scanning for signals of safety from others. Even when you are alone, the body remembers the feeling of being held, of being near a safe other. The memory of comfort is stored in the fascia, the connective tissue that wraps every muscle. As you relax, you are tapping into a reservoir of somatic memory, recalling the feeling of a parent's embrace or the warmth of a loved one, and the body responds by releasing oxytocin. Oxytocin is often called the hormone of love, but in the context of sleep, it is the molecule of safety. It acts directly on the amygdala, the brain's fear center, dampening its activity and quieting the circuits of anxiety. It tells the brain that you are secure, that you belong, and that you are protected. This chemical embrace allows the defenses to drop completely, dissolving the invisible armor that you wear during the day. You are left vulnerable in the most beautiful sense, open to rest, open to dreams, open to the restoration that comes only when the guards have left the gate. This interplay of nerves and hormones is a silent symphony that plays every night, a performance dedicated solely to your well-being. It requires no ticket, no audience, and no applause. It happens simply because you are human, because you are built to recover. The complexity of it is staggering. Millions of neurons firing in a coordinated pattern to bring you peace. Yet the experience of it is simple. It feels like a heaviness in the eyelids. It feels like a warmth in the chest. It feels like the slow, fading awareness of the room around you. As the physical body settles, the mind begins to loosen its grip on linear time. The rigid sequencing of past, present, and future softens into a continuous now. The thoughts that usually march in single file begin to drift and merge, losing their sharp edges. This is the brain shifting from beta waves, the fast, choppy frequency of active thought, into alpha and theta waves. These slower frequencies are the rhythm of the daydream, the frequency of the ocean swell, rolling in long, languid sets that carry you away from the shore of waking life, and the network endures. In this state, the brain creates space for integration. It is not shutting down, but rather switching tasks. The energy that was used for processing the outside world is now turned inward to organize and file away the experiences of the day. It is a time of housekeeping, where memories are sorted and stored, and where the emotional tone of events is processed and smoothed over. The brain is knitting together the narrative of your life, finding the threads of meaning and connection, even while you sleep. It is a gentle paradox that to truly rest, you must trust. You must trust the bed to hold you, the roof to shelter you, and the body to keep breathing without your instruction. This trust is not a decision you make with your logic. It is a biological state. It is the parasympathetic nervous system taking the wheel, steering the ship through the night with a steady hand. Every time you drift off, you are engaging in an act of faith, a profound acknowledgement that the world is stable enough for you to close your eyes. This capacity for trust is woven into the very evolution of your species. We are obligate, gregarious creatures, meaning we are biologically mandated to live together. For our ancestors, sleep was only possible because someone else was watching, or because the group provided a perimeter of safety. The ability to sleep deeply is therefore a marker of social success. It means you are not alone. Even now, in the quiet of your room, your biology is responding to the implicit safety of your environment, allowing you to access the deep, paralyzed sleep that restores the mind. As the muscles of the neck and jaw release their final tension, the head settles deeper into the pillow. The alignment of the spine neutralizes, the vertebrae finding their natural spacing as the compression of gravity is removed. The fluid that cushions the brain and spinal cord flows more freely now, washing away metabolic waste products in a rhythmic pulse that matches the heartbeat. You are being cleaned, repaired, and renewed from the inside out, a silent renovation that prepares you for the light of tomorrow. Observe the sensation of the hands lying still. These tools of interaction, which grasp and hold and make, are now empty. They have curled naturally into soft, open shapes, mimicking the posture of a child. There is nothing to hold on to, nothing to manipulate. The hands are receiving the rest they have earned, their tactile sensors quieting down as the need for input fades. The palms are warm, radiant with the heat that is being shunted away from the core, a physical sign of the body's thermal regulation adjusting for sleep. And silence follows. The digestive system, too, enters a new phase. The digest portion of the parasympathetic drive ensures that nutrients are absorbed and energy is stored. The gut, often called the second brain, communicates directly with the head through the vagus nerve, sending signals of satiety and comfort. A calm gut contributes to a calm mind, and as the stomach settles, it reinforces the overall signal of safety. The internal landscape is one of slow, rhythmic processing, a hidden industry of nourishment that operates best in the dark. This internal cooperation is a reflection of the external cooperation that defines humanity. Just as your cells work together to create the condition of sleep, humans work together to create the conditions of safety. The walls that surround you, the fabric that covers you, the quiet of the neighborhood. These are all products of human effort and cooperation. You are resting in a nest built by the collective, a physical manifestation of the biological imperative to care for one another. The silence of the night is not empty. It is filled with the presence of this shared protection. There is a profound gentleness in the way the body surrenders. It does not fight the exhaustion, it welcomes it. The eyelids become too heavy to lift, not because of weakness, but because the desire to see has been replaced by the desire to feel. To feel the warmth, the softness, the stillness. The external senses dampen, drawing the curtains on the theatre of the world, so that the internal senses can begin their work. You are drifting towards a place where the only reality is the rhythm of your own being, and the current flows without effort. As the mind continues to drift, the electrical activity within the cortex undergoes a subtle transformation. The high-frequency buzz of the day, known as beta waves, begins to elongate and smooth out, stretching into the slower, rolling curves of alpha rhythms. This is the neurological signature of relaxation, a shift from the staccato data processing of the waking hours to a fluid, idling state. It is similar to a car shifting into neutral while coasting down a long, gentle hill. The engine is still running, warm and ready, but the gears are disengaged, allowing momentum to take over. The effort of thinking is replaced by the ease of being. A transition that feels less like falling asleep and more like floating on a calm lake. This shift in frequency allows the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning, judging, and analyzing, to gradually dim its lights. This area, often overactive with the logistics of life, finally receives permission to step back from the control panel. The need to categorize experiences as good or bad dissolves, replaced by a simple, non-judgmental awareness of what is. You are no longer the director of the scene, managing entrances and exits. You are merely the audience, watching the quiet play of shadow and light behind your closed eyelids. The internal critic, that voice which measures performance and productivity, is silenced by the rising tide of alpha waves, leaving only a sense of spacious acceptance, and the quiet deepens. Simultaneously, the body begins a microscopic process of thermal regulation to facilitate this descent. For sleep to take hold, your core body temperature must drop by a fraction of a degree, a biological cue that mimics the cooling of the earth after sunset. The blood vessels in your hands and feet dilate further, radiating heat away from the center of the body and out into the air. This is why a warm blanket feels so comforting. It creates a pocket of stable air that allows the body to release its own heat without chill. You are physically cooling down the engine of the metabolism, signaling to every enzyme and protein that the time for high energy output has passed. This cooling is not just a physical mechanic, it is an evolutionary signal of safety. For early humans, the drop in temperature at night meant a retreat into the shelter, a gathering together for warmth. Your body remembers this ancient rhythm. The sensation of becoming cozy, of tucking limbs in close, is a reenactment of that primal gathering. By regulating your temperature, you are aligning yourself with the circadian pulse of the planet itself. You are syncing your internal weather with the external night, harmonizing the microclimate of your skin with the cooling atmosphere of the world outside your window, and life adjusts once more. As the physical boundary between you and the environment softens, we enter the realm of interpersonal biology. It is a fascinating truth that your nervous system is not a closed circuit. It is an open loop, constantly seeking resonance with others. This phenomenon, known as co-regulation, means that we are biologically wired to calm one another down. Even when you are alone in the room, your body retains the imprint of this connection. The neural pathways that light up when you feel safe are the same ones that developed through being held, rocked, and soothed by others throughout your life. You carry the soothing presence of your history within your very structure. Deep within the brain, mirror neurons, cells that allow us to empathize and imitate, are quietly active. They are the biological basis of the phrase, "I feel you." These neurons do not distinguish sharply between your own safety and the safety of those you love. When you cultivate calm within yourself, you are tapping into a shared reservoir of tranquility. It is as if the brain simulates the presence of a calm companion, recreating the feeling of a trusted other sitting nearby. This phantom comfort is a testament to how deeply social we are. We can summon the feeling of belonging even in the solitude of the night, wrapping ourselves in the memory of connection. Consider the phenomenon of the yawn, often dismissed as a mere sign of fatigue, but in truth, a complex signal of social cohesion. When you yawn, you are cooling the brain, drawing in a rush of cool air to regulate the temperature of the cerebral cortex. But evolutionarily, the yawn is contagious, a ripple that moves through a group, signaling a collective transition. It is a way for the tribe to synchronize their state, to say without words, "We are all lowering our guard together." Even a solitary yawn is a connection to this ancient language of shared rest, a biological agreement that it is safe for everyone to power down. And the rhythm continues. This synchronization extends to the breath, which often falls into a cadence that matches the slow, oceanic rhythm of deep sleep. When you hear the sound of your own breathing, slow, rhythmic, and soft, you are providing yourself with an auditory cue of safety. It acts as a feedback loop. The ear hears the sound of a calm animal, which is you, and the brain interprets this as evidence that there are no predators nearby. You are effectively singing a lullaby to your own nervous system, using the most primitive instrument available. The sound of air moving through the throat is the sound of life proceeding without obstruction, a continuous affirmation of survival. Within the skin, a specific network of nerves known as C-tactile afferents is waiting to be soothed. These nerve fibers are distinct from those that register pain or temperature. They are tuned specifically to the speed and pressure of a gentle caress. They respond best to slow, sweeping motions, the kind of touch used to comfort a child or a partner. When you pull the sheets up or feel the weight of the duvet settling against you, you are stimulating these fibers. The fabric mimics the sensation of a gentle hand, firing signals to the insular cortex that result in a profound sense of emotional well-being. The bed itself becomes a tool of affection, and peace hums through the body. This tactile comfort triggers a cascade of endogenous opioids, the body's natural painkillers and sedatives. These are not just for dulling physical pain, they numb the sharp edges of psychological distress as well. The sensation of being tucked in is chemically indistinguishable from the sensation of being protected. The pressure of the blankets provides a form of proprioceptive input, telling your brain exactly where your body is in space. This awareness grounds you, preventing the disorienting feeling of floating away. You are here, held by gravity and fabric, anchored to the specific coordinates of your bed in a world that is spinning safely through the dark. The architecture of your sleep is also governed by the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a tiny region in the brain that serves as your master clock. This internal timekeeper is exquisitely sensitive to light. As the room remains dim, this nucleus sends a message to the pineal gland to continue the production of melatonin. Melatonin is often called the vampire hormone because it only comes out at night, but a better name might be the heralding hormone. It does not knock you out. Rather, it opens the gate to sleep, signaling to every organ system that the solar day has ended and the lunar phase of the body has begun. This chemical tide of melatonin flows through the bloodstream, reaching every corner of your physiology. It tells the kidneys to slow down urine production, the stomach to reduce acid secretion, and the immune system to ramp up its patrol. It is a master coordination signal, ensuring that the entire corporation of the body is working off the same schedule. You are not a collection of disparate parts. You are a unified entity, synchronized by this single molecular messenger that rises and falls with the rotation of the planet. You are, quite literally, moving in time with the Earth, and the orbit holds. As the melatonin rises, the brain begins to wash itself. This is one of the most remarkable discoveries of sleeping science, the glymphatic system. During deep rest, the cells of the brain actually shrink slightly, creating wider gaps between them. Cerebrospinal fluid rushes into these spaces, sweeping away the toxic proteins and metabolic debris that accumulated during the day. It is a nightly janitorial shift, a physical cleansing of the mind's architecture. This is why sleep feels refreshing. It is not just a metaphor. You are waking up with a cleaner, clearer brain. scrubbed, polished by the tide of your own internal fluids. While the brain is being cleansed, the muscles undergo a state known as atonia. This is a temporary paralysis of the major muscle groups, a safety mechanism that prevents you from acting out your dreams. While it may sound alarming, it is actually a profound release. It is the body's way of ensuring that you stay put, that you remain safely nested, while the mind wanders through the landscapes of the dream world. The feeling of being lead heavy or unable to move is the feeling of this safety lock engaging, a secure anchor that keeps the vessel of the body moored while the consciousness sails and stillness travels through the water. This paralysis allows the energy that would maintain muscle tone to be diverted to repair. Growth hormone is released in pulses during the deepest phases of sleep, stimulating tissue regeneration and muscle building. Even in adults, this hormone is vital for maintaining the structural integrity of the body. It repairs the microtears in muscles, strengthens the bones, and renews the skin. You are being rebuilt in the dark, cell by cell, knitted back together stronger than before. The stillness you feel is the quiet of a construction site, where the work is delicate, precise, and infinitely restorative. The concept of the nest is central to this biology. In the wild, animals build nests not just for warmth, but for concealment and protection. Your bedroom is the modern equivalent of this sanctuary. By controlling the environment, locking the door, dimming the lights, adjusting the temperature, you are satisfying a primal urge to create a defensible perimeter. This allows the vigilant centers of the brain to fully stand down. You have outsourced your safety to the walls and the locks, allowing the internal sentries to sleep. The architecture of your home becomes an extension of your skeletal system, a larger shell that protects the soft life within, and everything rests in its place. There is an element of biological altruism in the way we sleep. In our evolutionary past, sleep was a communal activity. Groups would sleep in shifts or in piles, sharing warmth and vigilance. When you sleep today, you are participating in a behavior that sustained your species. The ability to let go, to trust that the dawn will come, is a trait that has been selected for. Those who could rest deeply were the ones who had the energy to hunt, to gather, and to care for others the next day. Your sleep is not a selfish act. It is a refueling of your capacity to be human, to be present, and to contribute to the group when the sun returns. Now, as the layers of physiology align, the cooling body, the slowing waves, the rising melatonin, the cleansing fluid, you are entering the most efficient state of human existence. It is a state of zero waste, where every calorie is used for repair and every neural impulse is used for integration. The friction of the waking world is gone, replaced by the frictionless flow of biological maintenance. You are a self-healing machine, operating in perfect silence, guided by a blueprint of health that requires no conscious effort to execute. And the tide moves gently on. Deep within the folds of the temporal lobe, the hippocampus begins its nightly dialogue with the cortex. This is the transfer of memory, a silent conversation where the temporary notes of the day are written into the permanent ledger of the mind. It is a process of selection and preservation, determining which moments carry the weight of meaning and which can be allowed to fade. The anxiety of holding on to details is released as the brain takes over the responsibility of remembering. You can let go of the day, knowing that what matters is being safely encoded in the library of your own history. This transfer is not merely a filing of facts, it is an emotional softening. During certain phases of sleep, the brain replays the memories of the day, but strips away the visceral, chemical edge of emotion. The stress-related neurochemistry is suppressed, allowing you to process experiences without the sharp sting of the immediate reaction. It is a form of nocturnal therapy, a way of smoothing the rough edges of your timeline. You wake up with the memory, but without the heavy burden of the feeling, having made peace with the past simply by closing your eyes and letting the mind do its work. And the quiet holds. While this archiving takes place, the brain protects its own solitude through phenomena known as sleep spindles. These are sudden, brief bursts of oscillatory brain activity that act as a shield against external noise. When a door creaks or a car passes on the street, the thalamus, the brain's sensory gatekeeper, generates a spindle to block the signal from reaching the conscious cortex. It is a biological do not disturb sign, a momentary hardening of the boundary between the dreamer and the world. Your brain is actively deciding that your rest is more important than the noise, prioritizing your peace over the distraction of the environment. The auditory cortex, usually a bustling hub of sound processing, finally finds a reprieve. Throughout the day, it is bombarded with the frequencies of speech, traffic, and technology, constantly filtering for relevance. Now, in the silence of the bedroom, the input drops to near zero. The neurons here do not stop firing, but they synchronize, moving from a chaotic chatter to a slow, rhythmic humming. It is the difference between a crowded room and a choir humming a single, low note. The silence outside allows for a harmony inside, a resonance that travels through the neural pathways like a song of restoration, and silence follows. The heart, too, enters a unique mode of operation known as nocturnal dipping. This is not a failure of pressure, but a deliberate unburdening of the cardiovascular system. The workload on the heart muscle decreases by nearly 20%, granting the engine of your life a well-deserved break. The blood pressure falls, allowing the delicate lining of the arteries to relax and repair. This nightly reprieve is essential for longevity. It is the pause that allows the music of the pulse to continue for a lifetime. Your heart is finding its lowest, most sustainable gear, cruising effortlessly through the dark hours. Within the bloodstream, a microscopic renovation is occurring along the endothelium, the inner lining of your blood vessels. Specialized progenitor cells are released from the bone marrow, traveling like a repair crew to patch any microscopic wear and tear. These cells are guided by biological signals to areas of stress, where they settle and rebuild the vessel walls. It is a process that requires the stillness of the body to be efficient. By lying still, you are facilitating this vascular healing, allowing the rivers of your body to reinforce their banks against the current of tomorrow. Quietly, the system restores itself. The immune system takes advantage of this downtime to launch its most sophisticated operations. Without the energy demands of movement and digestion, the body redirects its resources to defense and repair. Cytokines, the signaling proteins of the immune system, are produced in peak numbers during sleep. They drift through the body like messengers, coordinating the response to any invaders or inflammation. It is a silent patrol, a vigilance that operates beneath the radar of your awareness. You are being protected by a complex, invisible army that works best when you are completely surrendered to rest. Microscopic warriors within the blood, known as T cells, become more effective in the quiet. During the day, the stress hormones of activity can suppress their stickiness, making it harder for them to latch onto targets. But in the low cortisol environment of sleep, these cells activate distinct proteins called integrins. These sticky molecules allow the immune cells to hold on tight, to dock securely where they are needed. It is a biological embrace on a cellular level, a strengthening of the grip that protects you. The body is not just resting, it is fortifying its borders with a gentle, microscopic determination. And life adjusts once more. This biological resilience is deeply connected to your social nature. The feeling of safety that allows for deep sleep is often rooted in the subconscious knowledge of your network. Evolutionarily, the most vulnerable state for a human is sleep. Therefore, the ability to sleep implies the presence of trust. When you drift off, you are enacting a ritual of faith in your environment. You are assuming that the walls will hold, that the people around you mean you no harm. This assumption of goodness is the bedrock of your rest, a silent vote of confidence in the stability of your world. The muscles of the face, which spend the day broadcasting your emotions to others, finally dissolve into neutrality. The micro-expressions of concern, interest, surprise, and politeness melt away. The forehead smooths, the jaw unhinges, and the corners of the mouth settle. This is the social mask being set aside. You are no longer performing for an audience. You are simply existing. This release of social tension is a profound relief for the nervous system, which works tirelessly to interpret and project social cues. In the dark, you are free from the need to be understood, and everything softens. Even the phenomenon of dreaming can be seen as a form of social simulation. Some theories suggest that dreams are a safe space to practice emotional interactions. a virtual reality where the brain rehearses empathy and connection. You might wander through strange landscapes or meet figures from your past, but the underlying emotion is often a processing of your social reality. The mind is knitting you closer to the fabric of humanity, testing scenarios of bonding and resolution. You are learning how to be a better human, even while you lie motionless in the quiet. The rhythm continues. Consider the role of darkness itself as a biological nutrient. The absence of light is not an emptiness, it is a signal. It triggers the release of prolactin, another hormone associated with comfort and satisfaction. Prolactin is the chemical of after, the feeling of satiety after a meal, the calm after a connection. It floods the system during sleep, promoting a sense of gratification and well-being. It tells the body that the needs have been met, that the struggle is over, and that it is time to bask in the feeling of having enough. You are chemically marinating in contentment. The sensation of gravity becomes a comforting embrace, a constant pressure that mimics the feeling of being held. This is known as deep pressure stimulation, a sensory input that calms the autonomic nervous system. The earth itself is the ultimate holder, pulling you against its surface with a force that never wavers. You do not have to cling to the bed. The planet is clinging to you. It is a relationship of physics that feels like a relationship of care. You are anchored here, secure in the knowledge that you cannot fall off the edge of the world, and the current flows without effort. The vagus nerve, which we met earlier, operates within a hierarchy of states. In deep sleep, you enter the ventral vagal state of safety and restoration. This is the oldest part of the social engagement system, the neural circuit that allows for bonding and recovery. It shuts down the defensive strategies of fight or flight, and even the immobilization of freeze. Instead, it opens the pathways of regeneration. It is the state of the mammal in the burrow, safe with its kin. By accessing this state, you are connecting with the mammalian heritage of warmth and collective survival. The breathing rhythm you have adopted, slow, rhythmic, automatic, is a universal frequency. It is the same rhythm found in all sleeping humans, a shared cadence that transcends language and culture. If you were to listen to the breath of a sleeper on the other side of the world, it would sound just like yours. This synchronization is a reminder that, at the most fundamental level, we are all operating on the same biological software. We are all united in the need for air and the need for rest. You are breathing in chorus with the resting half of humanity, and peace lingers. Energy is being restored. At the molecular level, through the molecule known as ATP, this is the fuel of life, the battery pack of the cell. During the day, ATP is burned rapidly to power thought and movement, leaving behind a byproduct called adenosine. As adenosine builds up, it creates the pressure to sleep, a chemical debt that must be paid. Now, in the stillness, the mitochondria, the power plants of your cells, are working in reverse, clearing the adenosine and restocking the shelves with fresh ATP. You are literally recharging, filling the reserves for the joy of another day. These mitochondria are dynamic structures, constantly fusing and dividing to maintain their efficiency. In the quiet of sleep, they undergo a process of quality control, removing damaged components and optimizing their energy production. It is a microscopic tune-up, ensuring that the engine of your cells runs clean and bright. The warmth you feel in your body is the gentle hum of this energy production, a life force that sustains you. Even when you are not using it, you are a vessel of potential energy, gathering strength in the silence. Stillness travels through the water. The nervous system also resets its sensitivity thresholds. During the day, the constant bombardment of stimuli can make the nerves raw and reactive. Sleep acts as a recalibration, dialing down the gain on the amplifiers. The synapses, the gaps between neurons where communication happens, scale back their strength, preventing the circuits from becoming overloaded. This is called synaptic homeostasis. It ensures that tomorrow you will be able to feel subtle things again, that you will have the bandwidth to notice the small beauties of the world without being overwhelmed by the noise. There is a vulnerability in sleep that is actually a form of strength. To close your eyes is to admit that you cannot do everything, that you are a finite being who needs renewal. This admission is the gateway to grace. It allows you to step off the treadmill of achievement and exist simply as a biological miracle. The body does not judge you for needing rest. It rewards you for it. It treats your exhaustion not as a failure, but as an opportunity to demonstrate its incredible capacity for healing. And the tide moves gently on. The anticipation of the morning is built into the architecture of the night. Even as you sleep, the body is preparing for the return of the light. But it does so without rushing, trusting in the rotation of the planet to bring the dawn at the exact right moment. There is no need to hurry the sun. The biological clock knows the schedule, and it manages the timing with celestial precision. You can abandon the need to track the hours, for the rhythm of the universe is keeping time for you, counting the seconds in the beat of your heart and the expansion of your lungs. The architecture of your rest is built upon a foundation of genetic memory, a library of peace that has been written over eons, every strand of DNA within. Your cells carries the encoded history of ancestors who found safe places to sleep, who huddled together against the cold, and who woke to see another day. You are the living result of their success in finding comfort. When you settle into the mattress, you are not merely performing a daily routine. You are accessing an ancient survival strategy that prioritizes conservation and recovery. The body knows exactly what to do because it has done this billions of times before in the lives of those who came before you. This biological heritage reveals that goodness and cooperation are not just social ideals, but physiological necessities. The human system is designed to wither in isolation and to thrive in connection. The nervous system seeks the co-regulation of a safe environment to function optimally. This means that your ability to relax is a measure of your trust in the world around you. By letting go of your vigilance, you are affirming the safety of your immediate universe. It is a silent vote of confidence in the stability of the roof, the lock on the door, and the fabric of the community that surrounds you, unseen in the dark, and the network endures. Consider the intricate web of fascia, the connective tissue that wraps every muscle, bone, and organ in a continuous, liquid crystalline suit. During the day, this tissue can become stiff with the bracing patterns of stress, holding the body in a subtle posture of readiness. But now, as the chemical signals of safety flood the system, the fascia begins to rehydrate and glide. The microscopic layers slide over one another with renewed ease, releasing the physical memory of tension. It is a literal unwinding, where the structural fabric of your form dissolves its rigid holding patterns and returns to a state of fluid adaptability. The chemistry of kindness is active even in your sleep. Oxytocin, the molecule that binds mothers to infants and friends to friends, continues to circulate, repairing the heart, physically and emotionally. It is an anti-inflammatory agent, seeking out the micro-injuries caused by stress and soothing them with a molecular touch. This hormone suggests that your body treats the absence of conflict as an opportunity to heal. You are being washed in a solution designed for bonding, proving that at your core, you are built to connect, to love, and to be whole. And silence follows. Deep in the brainstem, the reticular activating system, which usually filters the noise of the world for danger, changes its settings. It narrows its bandwidth, allowing only the most essential information to pass. It is no longer looking for threats, it is looking for consistency. The steady hum of the refrigerator, the rhythmic breathing of a partner, the distant white noise of the city. These become lullabies rather than alarms. The brain interprets these continuous sounds as a safety signal, a confirmation that the environment is stable and that nothing new or sharp is entering the frame. The concept of homeostasis is often taught as a static balance, but in sleep, it is a dynamic dance of restoration. The body is balancing its pH, its blood sugar, its oxygen levels, and its hormones with exquisite precision. It is a self-correcting system that leans always toward health. The moment you stop interfering with your conscious worry, the body creates a clear path toward equilibrium. It is an act of biological optimism, a belief held by your cells that a return to center is always possible, no matter how far you may have drifted during the day, and life adjusts once more. As the breath continues its slow tidal rhythm, it massages the vagus nerve in the abdomen. This stimulation sends a powerful message of safety upward to the brain, a bottom-up signal that calms the mind. It is a reversal of the usual order. Instead of the brain telling the body to relax, the body is telling the brain that it is safe to dream. This visceral reassurance is primal and undeniable. You cannot think your way into this kind of peace. You have to feel it in the expansion of the ribs and the softness of the belly. The emotional brain, specifically the amygdala, cools down significantly during this phase. The blood flow to this alarm center decreases, reducing its reactivity. It is as if the security guard has gone off duty, leaving the doors open to the gentle breeze of the night. This deactivation allows the prefrontal cortex, the wise, rational part of you, to integrate the day's experiences without the interference of fear. You are processing your life with a calm, detached wisdom, weaving the raw data of existence into a coherent, manageable narrative, and the quiet deepens. There is a profound efficiency in this state of rest. Conflict, whether internal or external, is metabolically expensive. It consumes vast amounts of glucose and oxygen. Peace, on the other hand, is the body's most energy-efficient state. By entering deep sleep, you are aligning yourself with the law of least effort. The heart beats with less force, the breath requires less muscle, and the brain consumes less fuel for anxiety. You are saving yourself, hoarding the precious energy of life to be used for creation and connection when the sun returns. This efficiency extends to the cellular level, where the concept of autophagy comes into play. This is the cell's self-cleaning mechanism, where it identifies and recycles its own damaged parts. It is a form of microscopic recycling, turning the waste of yesterday into the building blocks of tomorrow. This process is most active when the organism is at rest, proving that stillness is not inactivity, but a different, more subtle form of productivity. You are renewing yourself from the inside out, turning the old into the new without lifting a finger, and everything rests in its place. The skin, your boundary with the world, shifts its function from protection to respiration and release. The pores open slightly, allowing the skin to breathe and exchange moisture with the air. The barrier permeability adjusts, signaling a time of openness rather than defense. Even the largest organ of the body recognizes that the time for shielding has passed. You are engaging with the atmosphere of the room in a soft, permeable exchange, blurring the line between where you end and where the night begins. In this quiet, the phenomenon of entrainment may occur. If there is another living being nearby, your heart rates and breathing patterns may drift towards synchronization. This is a biological drift toward unity, a subtle gravitational pull that draws living rhythms together. It is an unconscious expression of empathy, a physical manifestation of the desire to be in tune with another. Even if you are alone, you entrain with the rhythms of the earth, the cooling temperature, the electromagnetic quiet, the darkness. You are never truly solitary. You are always in a duet with the environment. The rhythm continues. The voice, box or larynx, relaxes completely. The muscles that shape words and hold back cries let go of their tension. The potential for speech remains, but the need for it vanishes. In this silence, the throat opens, becoming a clear channel for the breath. This release of the communicative drive is a profound rest for a social species. You are relieved of the duty to explain, to justify, or to describe. You exist in a state of pre-verbal truth, where you simply are, without the need for language to define your presence. As the night deepens, the production of growth hormone peaks. This is the builder, the repairer, the chemical that knits bone and strengthens muscle, but it is also the chemical of youth and vitality. It is released in pulses that correspond to the deepest waves of sleep. Every time you sink into the heavy, dreamless dark, you are bathing your tissues in a fountain of renewal. The body is literally growing stronger in the silence, repairing the micro tears of living so that you can stand taller tomorrow, and stillness travels through the water. The concept of trust is often seen as an emotional decision, but here we see it as a physiological state. To sleep is to trust. It is to lay down your defenses, to close your primary senses, and to expose your soft underbelly to the world. This vulnerability is the ultimate sign of a safe ecosystem. It suggests that you live in a world where it is safe to be unconscious for a third of your life. Every night is a testament to the safety that humans have built for one another, a collective agreement to guard the peace so that we may all rest. This trust extends to the future. By sleeping, you are implicitly believing that there will be a tomorrow. You are investing in a future you cannot yet see, repairing a body for a day that has not yet dawned. It is an act of hope, a biological wager that the sun will rise and that you will be there to greet it. The body does not despair. It prepares. It scrubs the brain, repairs the muscles, and balances the hormones, all in anticipation of a new beginning. And the current flows, without effort. The spine, the central pillar of your physical structure, lengthens. During the day, gravity compresses the discs between the vertebrae, slowly shortening you by a fraction of an inch. But now, horizontal and free from that downward pull, the discs rehydrate. They soak up fluid like sponges, expanding and cushioning the space between the bones. You are literally growing, taller as you sleep, reclaiming the space that gravity took from you. It is a nightly expansion, a physical stretching towards your full stature. Within the sensory cortex, the representation of the body becomes less distinct. The sharp map of the homunculus, the brain's internal diagram of the body, softens. The boundaries between the fingers, the hands and the arms blur slightly in the neural landscape. This is the sensation of losing track of your limbs, of feeling like a single warm cloud, of existence rather than a collection of parts. You are experiencing a kind of neurological wholeness, a unification of the self that only happens when the demand for specific action ceases, and peace lingers. The heart's electromagnetic field, which radiates outward from the chest, settles into a coherent, rhythmic pattern. Science tells us that this field can be detected several feet away from the body. In a state of deep rest, this field becomes smooth and ordered, a broadcast of tranquility. You are effectively a transmitter of peace, sending a silent signal of coherence into the room. If anyone were to enter this space, they would feel the stillness you have generated. You are not just consuming rest, you are creating an atmosphere of it. The eyes, resting in their sockets, are bathed in lacrimal fluid, a saline wash that cleanses and nourishes the cornea. This fluid is antibacterial and protective, a gentle tear film that restores the clarity of your vision. While you see nothing but the dark, the tools of your sight are being polished. The body is preparing you to see the world clearly again, washing away the dust and the dryness of the past. It is a preparation for a fresh perspective, ensuring that when the lids lift, the window to the world is clear, and life adjusts once more. Even the digestion of your last meal has transformed from an active breakdown to a slow, rhythmic absorption. The nutrients are being shuttled across cell membranes, becoming part of your structure. You are literally becoming what you have consumed, turning matter into energy and form. This alchemy happens without your supervision. It is a reminder of the body's innate intelligence, its ability to transmute the raw materials of the earth into the miracle of human tissue, all while you drift in the void of sleep. The temperature of the brain continues to fluctuate in a delicate rhythm, slightly cooler than the body core. This temperature differential is crucial for neuroprotection. The brain is keeping itself cool to prevent damage and to facilitate the complex chemical reactions of memory storage. It is a biological climate control system, maintaining the perfect internal weather for the mind to flourish. You are carrying a microclimate of preservation within your skull, a cool and quiet sanctuary for the self, and the tide moves gently on. There is a gentleness in how the body handles its waste. The lymphatic system, a slow-moving network of vessels, drains the excess fluid and toxins from the tissues. Unlike the blood, which is pumped by the heart, the lymph moves through the subtle contractions of smooth muscle and the passive movement of breath. It is a silent river of cleansing, flowing steadily through the night. It does not rush, it simply flows, carrying away what is no longer needed, leaving the tissues pristine and ready for the new day. As we move deeper into this exploration, consider the social engagement system, not just as a tool for talking, but as a tool for healing. The nerves that control the face and heart are linked. When the face relaxes, the heart relaxes. When the heart slows, the face softens. It is a bidirectional loop of goodness. By allowing your face to be blank and soft, you are sending a message of kindness to your own heart. You are treating yourself with the same gentleness you would offer a sleeping child, and the body responds with a deep, resonant gratitude, and stillness travels through the water. This biological kindness is your birthright. It is not something you have to earn or learn. It is the default setting of your organism. The stress and the noise are the aberrations. The peace is the baseline. When you strip away the demands of the modern world, what remains is a creature designed for connection, for rest, and for rhythmic restoration. You are returning to your factory settings, to the original design of a human being at peace with its own nature. The silence that surrounds you now is not empty. It is full of this potential. It is charged with the energy of recovery. Every second that passes in this state is a deposit in the bank of your health. You are accumulating wealth in the form of cellular stability and neural coherence. There is nothing you need to do to make this happen. It is happening right now in the quiet dark, simply because you are here. And the rhythm continues. Deep in the enteric nervous system, often called the second brain, the chemistry of contentment is being brewed. It is a surprising fact that the vast majority of your serotonin, the neurotransmitter responsible for mood and feelings of well-being, is produced not in the head, but in the gut, in the stillness of the night, as digestion slows to a gentle rhythmic pulse. This chemical reservoir is replenished. You are literally synthesizing happiness in your sleep, preparing the biological substrate for tomorrow's patience and joy. The quiet rumbling you might feel is not just digestion, it is the sound of the body balancing its emotional chemistry, ensuring that the machinery of your mood is oiled and ready for the morning. This internal production is supported by a process known as neuroception. This is the nervous system's subconscious radar, constantly scanning the environment for signs of safety or danger. It operates far below the level of conscious thought, reading the tone of the room, the stillness of the air, and the comfort of the bedding. When the environment is deemed safe, as it is now, the system sends a safety cue to the brainstem. This cue acts like a key turning in a lock, opening the door to the deepest, most restorative states of sleep. You are being granted permission to let go by your own vigilant sentries, who have inspected the night and found it peaceful. And peace hums through the body. The weight of the blanket offers a specific form of neurological nutrition. The pressure stimulates the proprioceptors in your joints and skin, telling the brain exactly where the boundaries of the body are. This input is incredibly grounding. It silences the seeking circuits of the brain that try to map the body in empty space. By clearly defining the edges of your physical form, the blanket allows the mind to stop searching. You are contained, held, and defined by this gentle pressure. It is a physical affirmation that you are here, solid and whole, preventing the sensation of drifting apart that can sometimes accompany the onset of sleep. Consider the sociology of the night. For most of human history, the darkness was a time of gathering. The perimeter was drawn tight, and the tribe moved inward. When you lie here, safe and warm, you are reenacting that ancient huddling. Even if you are alone, the architecture of the room serves as the tribe. The walls are the sentries. The roof is the shield. You have outsourced the need for vigilance to the structure around you. This allows you to revert to a state of trusting, dependence, a softness that is usually reserved for the very young. You are borrowing the strength of the building so that your own strength can rest. And the quiet holds. Deep within the lungs, cellular respiration is taking place in a hushed and steady rhythm. The alveoli, those microscopic sacs where air meets blood, are exchanging oxygen for carbon dioxide with effortless efficiency. In the vertical world of the day, gravity creates a gradient in the lungs, making some areas work harder than others. But now, in the horizontal landscape of the bed, the blood flow is evenly distributed. Every part of the lung is perfused equally, allowing for a more complete and restful exchange of gases. You are breathing more efficiently lying down than you ever do standing up. optimizing the vital breath with every slow, silent expansion of the chest. The geometry of your posture tells a story of safety. When an animal feels threatened, it curls tight, protecting the soft organs of the belly. But as you settle deeper into trust, the body naturally unfurls. The legs extend, the arms drift away from the torso, and the chest opens to the ceiling. This open posture is a biological declaration of peace. It signals to your own brain that there are no predators in the room, no need to shield the heart. By physically taking up space, you are psychologically claiming safety. You are occupying your rest fully, expanding into the comfort that is your right, and silence follows. At the gateway of the brain, the blood-brain barrier stands guard. This semi-permeable border controls what enters the sensitive environment of the central nervous system. During sleep, the transport mechanisms across this barrier change. It becomes more selective, ensuring that the brain receives exactly the nutrients it needs while keeping out potential agitators. It is a biological bouncer, maintaining the exclusivity of the VIP section that is your mind. This strict regulation ensures that the chemical environment of the brain remains pristine, a clean room where the delicate work of memory consolidation can happen without contamination. As the sensory input from the eyes and ears fades, the brain's resolution turns inward. The signal-to-noise ratio shifts. During the day, the noise of the world drowns out the subtle signals of the body. But now, in the quiet, you can hear the faint whisper of your own existence. You might notice the beat of your heart in your ear, or the subtle flow of warmth in your fingertips. This increase in internal resolution allows you to inhabit your body more fully. You are tuning in to the station of the self, listening to the quiet broadcast of your own biology, and the tide moves gently on. The pineal gland, a tiny structure deep in the center of the brain, acts as the third eye of your physiology. It is the only part of the brain that receives blood directly, without the filter of the blood-brain barrier, making it exquisitely sensitive to the chemistry of the body. It is the conductor of the circadian orchestra, releasing melatonin in perfect sync with the darkness. This gland connects you to the cosmos. It ties your internal clock to the rotation of the planet. You are not sleeping randomly. You are sleeping in a gravitational alignment with the motion of the Earth, guided by this tiny, light-sensitive crystal in the center of your head. The concept of rest and digest extends beyond food. It applies to emotions as well. The gut and the brain are connected by the vagus nerve in a constant dialogue. During sleep, this line is clear. The emotional indigestion of the day, the worries, the small conflicts, the unresolved tensions, is processed. The gut produces peptides that signal satiety and calm, sending them up to the brain to say, "We have enough, we are okay." This visceral reassurance helps to metabolize the stress of the day, breaking it down into harmless components that can be released, leaving you emotionally lighter by morning, and everything rests in its place. The vocal cords, the instruments of your identity, are undergoing a profound rest. The microscopic muscles that tighten to create pitch and tone are now slack. The mucosa that lines the cords is being hydrated and repaired. Silence is the medicine for the voice. In a world that demands constant communication, this nightly vow of silence is a radical act of self-care. You are preserving the instrument of your connection, allowing the tissues to recover their elasticity so that tomorrow you can speak your truth with clarity and strength. The silence you keep now is the foundation of the words you will speak later. The diaphragm, the great dome of muscle that powers your breath, moves with a fluid, wave-like grace. During the day, stress can freeze this muscle, restricting the breath to the upper chest. But in the safety of sleep, the diaphragm unlocks. It descends fully into the abdomen, massaging the liver, the stomach, and the intestines with every inhalation. This rhythmic internal massage promotes the flow of lymph and blood through the organs. You are literally rocking your internal organs to sleep, cradling them in the steady oceanic motion of your own breath, and the network endures. There is a deep interconnectedness in the simple act of sleeping. At this very moment, billions of other human beings are lying in this same horizontal state, surrendering to the same biological need. We are a species that sleeps. This shared vulnerability binds us together more tightly than any ideology. To sleep is to join the vast, silent majority of the planet that is currently at rest. You are participating in a global wave of peace that travels around the Earth, following the shadow of the night. You are never alone in the dark. You are part of a rolling tide of dreamers. The vulnerability of the belly is a key factor in this biological equation. The abdomen is the softest, most unprotected part of the human form, housing the vital organs. To lie on your back or to sleep with a relaxed core is to expose this softness. It is an instinctual display of trust that can only happen when the amygdala, the fear center, is completely quiet. When you feel the belly rise and fall without tension, you are feeling the physical manifestation of safety. You are guarding nothing because there is nothing here that needs to be fought. And life adjusts once more. Deep in the bone marrow, the silent factories of the blood are humming. This is the source of your vitality, where stem cells differentiate into red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. This process is sensitive to stress. It works best when the host is calm. By sleeping, you are providing the perfect conditions for this hematopoiesis, the creation of blood. You are regenerating the very river of life that flows through you. The stillness of your bones allows for the busy, productive movement of creation within them, ensuring that tomorrow your blood will be rich with oxygen and defense. Sometimes, as you drift off, you might feel a sudden, small jerk, a hypnic jerk. Far from being a problem, this is often a sign that the system is powering down rapidly. It is a little spark of neural energy escaping as the muscles release their final holding patterns. It is the body testing the disconnect between the brain and the limbs, a physical confirmation that you are crossing the threshold. It is the sensation of the clutch engaging, shifting you from the driving mode of the day into the coasting mode of the night. It is a stumble on the step down into the cellar of deep rest, quickly corrected as you find your footing in the dark, and stillness travels through the water. The temperature gradient of the body is a masterpiece of thermal engineering. While the core remains warm to protect the organs, the skin cools, creating a perfect balance. This differential drives the sleep cycle deeper. The coolness of the skin mimics the sensation of the cool night air, triggering an evolutionary memory of safety. The warmth of the core mimics the warmth of the fire or the huddle. You are carrying the campfire and the night sky within your own thermal regulation. You are a microcosm of the ancient camp, self-contained and perfectly adjusted to the elements. The shift from the sympathetic nervous system, the gas pedal, to the parasympathetic system, the brake, is now complete. The dominance of the rest and digest system is absolute. This is not a passive state, but an active domination of calm. The vagus nerve is the king of the internal landscape, issuing decrees of slowness and softness to every province of the body. The heart obeys, the lungs obey, the muscles obey. You are under the benevolent rule of your own biology, governed by a constitution that prioritizes peace above all else, and the current flows without effort. The room itself acts as a sensory deprivation chamber, a container for your peace. The lack of visual input allows the visual cortex to idle. The lack of conversation allows the language centers to go offline. This reduction in sensory load is a gift. The brain, which consumes 20% of your body's energy, is finally allowed to run on low power. It is a conservation mode that saves the machinery from wear and tear. You are placing the complex tool of your mind back in its case, closing the lid to keep it safe and sharp for when it is needed again. Consider the evolutionary history of the hearth. For thousands of years, humans slept around a central fire. That fire provided warmth, light, and protection. Today, the hearth is internal. It is the metabolic warmth of your own body, the steady burn of your cells creating energy. You are your own fire. You are keeping the flame of life burning through the night, a quiet, smokeless combustion that sustains you. You do not need to tend this fire. It tends itself, fueled by the air you breathe and the rest you take. And the rhythm continues. The muscles of the jaw, specifically the masseters, are among the strongest in the body. They hold the tension of speech, of biting back words, of determination. Now, gravity gently pulls the jaw open. The teeth part, creating a small space of release. This unclenching is a profound signal to the brain. It says, the struggle is over. You are no longer gritting your teeth against the world. You are letting the mouth become soft, returning it to its primary function of breathing and being. The slackness of the jaw is the physical shape of surrender. Behind the closed lids, the eyes are soft. This is a quality of gaze that looks at nothing and receives everything. During the day, you look at things. Now, you are looking into the dark. This soft focus relaxes the ciliary muscles that control the lens. The strain of focusing on screens, on faces, on danger is washed away. The eyes float in their orbits, untethered from the need to track. They are drifting in. The inner ocean, watching the phosphines, the random pulses of light and color that dance like northern lights in the private sky of your mind. And peace lingers. The internal organs, no longer compressed by the upright posture or the tension of the abdominal muscles, find their natural spacing. The stomach settles, the liver rests, the kidneys function with ease. There is room now, room for the blood to flow, room for the tissues to expand, room for the breath to reach the deepest corners. You are creating space within yourself, a physical spaciousness that translates into a feeling of ease. You are not crowded by your own tension. You are expansive, open, and free within the boundaries of your own skin. Consider for a moment that you are not sleeping alone. You are a galaxy of life. Within the landscape of your gut, billions of microscopic organisms, your microbiome, are also adjusting their activity in time with the moon. These tiny passengers have their own circadian rhythms, their own cycles of rest and activity that align perfectly with yours. As you settle into stillness, this vast internal community shifts its function, working to repair the lining of the intestines and manage the nutrients you have provided. You are the planet on which they live, and tonight, the entire ecosystem is settling into a period of harmonious quiet, a symbiotic truce that sustains you both. This biological partnership is a testament to the fact that life is never a solitary endeavor. Your ability to rest supports their survival, and their work supports your health. There is a chemical conversation happening between your bacteria and your brain, transmitted via the vagus nerve. They produce precursors to dopamine and serotonin, the very molecules that allow you to feel peace and satisfaction. In the dark, this invisible factory is humming with the production of well-being. You are being cared for from the inside out by a legion of tiny helpers who thrive when you are at peace. And the tide moves gently on. The spine, the central highway of your nervous system, is bathed in a rhythmic flow of cerebrospinal fluid. This clear, protective liquid pulses with every beat of your heart and every breath you take. It acts as a cushion for the delicate nerves, but also as a conduit for chemical messages. In the horizontal position, the pressure in the spinal canal equalizes, allowing this fluid to circulate with perfect freedom. It washes over the roots of the nerves, carrying away metabolic waste and delivering nutrients. You are literally washing away the debris of the day from the very core of your being. This hydraulic system is the physical manifestation of flow. There are no blockages here, no dams holding back the river of your vitality. The alignment of your vertebrae on the mattress allows the channel to open fully. The information that travels from the brain to the body and back again moves without resistance. Even in sleep, the lines of communication remain open, but they are quiet. They are not carrying orders for action. They are carrying the signal of all is well. It is a silent broadcast of stability that reaches every toe and fingertip, and stillness travels through the water. In the brain, a neurotransmitter called GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid, is being released in steady waves. This molecule is the brain's primary inhibitory signal. It is the chemical equivalent of a shh. It binds to neurons and makes them less likely to fire, dampening the electrical noise of the cortex. It does not stop the mind, it simply quiets it. It turns down the volume of the internal monologue, allowing the spaces between thoughts to grow wider and longer. You are not losing your mind. You are finding its quietest setting, a mode of existence that requires no words. This chemical inhibition is a form of biological mercy. It prevents the brain from overheating with its own activity. By limiting the firing of neurons, GABA protects the delicate circuitry from excitotoxicity, the damage caused by too much stimulation. Sleep is the time when the brain protects itself from its own power. It puts the brakes on the racing engine of thought, allowing the components to cool. You are being chemically shielded from the intensity of your own consciousness, wrapped in a blanket of molecular silence that feels like a soft, heavy fog, and life adjusts once more. The concept of tensegrity, tensional integrity, governs the structure of your body. Your bones do not touch each other. They float in a web of muscles and fascia. During the day, gravity and stress pull this web tight, distorting the perfect geometry of your frame. But now, as the muscles let go, the web returns to its natural, balanced tension. The bones drift back into their optimal relationships. The shoulders drop away from the ears, the pelvis neutralizes, the knees soften. You are a suspension bridge that has been relieved of its traffic, hanging effortlessly in the air, perfectly, supported by your own design. This structural release allows the fluids of the body, blood, lymph, interstitial fluid, to permeate the tissues more deeply. The areas that were compressed by sitting or standing are now flushed with fresh hydration. It is a microscopic irrigation of the self, the discs of the spine, the cartilage of the knees, the fascia of the feet. All are drinking in the moisture they need to remain pliable. You are soaking in the restorative bath of your own biology, reclaiming the fluidity that defines a living thing. You are becoming less solid, more water, and the rhythm continues. The soles of the feet, which bear the weight of your world all day, are finally unburdened. These complex structures, packed with sensors and small bones, are often the most tired part of the body. Now, they are free. The blood that pooled there during the day flows easily back toward the heart. The intricate arches relax, flattening slightly as the demand to support you vanishes. There is no place you need to go, no path you need to walk. The journey has paused, and the vehicles of your movement are parked in the garage of the night, cooling down. This cessation of movement is a profound signal to the brain's navigation centers. The place cells and grid cells in the hippocampus, which map your location in space, can stop tracking. You are here. That is the only coordinate that matters. The constant calculation of where am I going is replaced by the simple certainty of I am where I belong. This collapse of the future into the present is the essence of rest. You have arrived at the destination, which is simply this moment of stillness, and everything rests in its place. The immune system possesses a memory, a library of every pathogen it has ever defeated. In sleep, this memory is consolidated. The T cells and B cells that encountered new challenges today are transferring that information to the long-term archives. This is how you build resilience. The body is studying the lessons of the day, ensuring that it will be stronger and smarter tomorrow. You are not just recovering, you are evolving. You are becoming a more competent organism, better equipped to navigate the world, simply by lying here and letting the system learn. This immunological intelligence is a form of internal vigilance that allows you to drop your external vigilance. You do not need to worry about the microscopic threats of the world because you have a highly trained security force patrolling your bloodstream. They work best when cortisol is low, when the stress of the conscious mind is removed. By sleeping, you are stepping out of their way, allowing them to do their job with precision. You are trusting the wisdom of your bone marrow and your spleen to keep the sanctuary of your body safe, and silence follows. The skin acts as a massive sensory receiver, and tonight it is tuned to the frequency of comfort. The nerve endings that register temperature are detecting the warmth of the bed, sending a continuous stream of comfortable signals to the brain. This thermal comfort is deeply reassuring. It mimics the warmth of the womb, the original safety. The body interprets this stable, warm environment as a loving embrace. You are being held by the thermal energy of your own life, reflected back to you by the covers. Even the sensation of the fabric against your skin is a form of communication. The softness of the sheets tells the tactile senses that the immediate environment is gentle. There are no thorns here, no rough edges, no abrasive surfaces. The world closest to you is soft. This tactile information bypasses the logic of the brain and speaks directly to the emotional centers. It says that you have created a pocket of softness in a hard world, a nest where the rules of survival are suspended in favor of the rules of comfort, and the current flows without effort. The process of synaptic pruning is taking place within the cortex. The brain is like a gardener, trimming back the overgrowth of connections that were made during the day but are not essential. This prevents the neural network from becoming a tangled mess of noise. It is a precise, delicate subtraction that creates clarity. You are losing the trivial to save the vital. The brain is deciding what is worth keeping, refining the architecture of your mind so that you wake up with a clearer, more streamlined consciousness. This pruning is why problems often seem smaller in the morning. The obsessive loops of thought, the redundant worries, the static of overthinking, these are the weeds that are being snipped away in the dark. You are being physically relieved of the burden of excess thought. The mind is decluttering itself, creating open spaces where new ideas can breathe. You are not ignoring your problems. You are structurally reorganizing your mind to handle them with greater grace. And peace lingers. There is a biological impossibility of anger in deeps. Sleep. The physiological state required for anger, high heart rate, adrenaline, muscle tension, is the exact opposite of the state you are in now. You cannot be furious and asleep at the same time. Therefore, to sleep is to lay down your arms. It is a forced truce with the world and with yourself. Whatever battles you fought today, they must end here at the border of the night. The body insists on forgiveness, or at least on a ceasefire, in order to grant you the rest you need. This physiological forgiveness extends to the self. The harsh inner critic cannot sustain its voice in the presence of alpha and theta waves. The judgment centers of the brain simply do not have the energy to run. You are left with a raw, unfiltered acceptance of your own existence. In the dark, you are just a mammal breathing. You are not your job, your mistakes, or your ambitions. You are a beating heart and a pair of lungs, and that is enough. The body accepts you unconditionally, and the quiet deepens. The liver, the great chemist of the body, shifts its function. During the day, it focuses on managing energy release. At night, it focuses on detoxification. It filters the blood with a slow, methodical rhythm, breaking down the byproducts of metabolism. It is a silent purification ritual. The liver is scrubbing the blood clean, ensuring that the fluid that reaches your brain and heart is pristine. You are being renewed chemically, your very substance being filtered and polished while you dream. The kidneys too slow their filtration rate, concentrating the urine so that you do not need to wake. This coordination between the brain, which releases antidiuretic hormone, and the kidneys is a marvel of internal communication. It shows how the body prioritizes unbroken rest. The organs are willing to alter their usual schedules, to hold their work in abeyance, just to ensure that your consciousness can remain in the deep, healing waters of sleep. The entire corporation of the body is working, over time, to protect your peace, and life adjusts once more. As the muscles of the neck release, the head finds its true weight. The average human head weighs about 10 pounds, a significant burden to carry all day. Now, the pillow accepts that weight fully. The cervical vertebrae, usually compressed by the need to balance this globe, open up. The small muscles at the base of the skull, often the source of tension headaches, finally go slack. This release of the control tower allows the blood to flow more easily into the brain, nourishing the very center of your awareness. There is a concept in biology called allostasis, which is the process of achieving stability through change. Your body is constantly making micro-adjustments to keep you stable. In sleep, these adjustments become subtle and rhythmic. The heart rate variability, the variation in time between each heartbeat, actually increases. This variability is a sign of health. It means your heart is responsive, flexible, and ready to adapt. A rigid heart beats like a metronome. A healthy, resting heart beats like water, flowing around the obstacles of the moment with a fluid, adaptive grace. And the network endures. The darkness you are immersed in is not empty space. It is a physical presence. Photons of light are physical particles, and their absence changes the physics of the room. The air is cooler. The electromagnetic chatter is often lower. You are resting in a different physical medium than you do during the day. This dark bath allows the pineal gland to fully express its chemistry. You are absorbing the darkness as a nutrient, drinking in the quiet of the spectrum. Even the sensation of time changes. In the waking world, time is linear, marked by clocks and schedules. In the sleeping world, time is cyclical and rhythmic. It is measured in breath cycles, approx 12 per minute, and sleep cycles, approx 90 minutes. You are stepping out of chronos, man-made time, and into kairos, natural, qualitative time. You are returning to the time of the tides and the seasons, a slower, deeper current that flows beneath the surface of the calendar, and silence follows. The emotional tone of this state is one of profound neutrality. We often chase happiness, but the body chases peace. Happiness is high energy. Peace is sustainable. The state you are entering is the baseline of existence, a place where there is no lack and no excess. It is the 0 point of the nervous system. From this place of neutrality, all other emotions are possible, but for now, you are simply resting in the potential of being. You are the blank canvas, resting before the painting begins again. This neutrality is supported by the vagus nerve's influence on the facial nerves. The social engagement system includes the muscles of the middle ear, the face, and the larynx. When these relax, you physically disconnect from the social world. You are no longer broadcasting signals. You are no longer receiving them. You are an island of calm. This isolation is not lonely. It is protective. It creates a boundary within which the self can regenerate without the demand to be anything for anyone else. And the current flows without effort. As you lie here, you are participating in the great biological imperative of conservation. Every organism, from the smallest bacteria to the largest whale, must rest. It is a universal law of life. By sleeping, you are obeying this law, aligning yourself with the fundamental rhythm of the universe. There is a dignity in this obedience. You are not fighting nature, you are flowing with it. You are accepting your place in the great cycle of activity and rest, knowing that the pause is just as important as the movement. The anticipation of the dawn is written into your genes, but for now, the night is your domain. The body knows that the sun will return, but it does not rush toward it. It savors the shadow. It uses the dark to do the work that cannot be done in the light, the repair, the cleaning, the growing. You are a creature of both the light and the dark, and tonight, you are honoring your nocturnal nature. You are safe, you are held, and you are healing in the quiet sanctuary of your own biology. And the tide moves gently on. Deep within the inner ear, the vestibular system, your internal compass, finally finds a moment of stillness. These delicate canals, filled with fluid and lined with microscopic hairs, spend the day calculating your position in space, constantly adjusting to every turn of the head. But now, with the head resting heavy on the pillow, the fluid settles. The turbulent waves of movement calm into a glassy surface. You are no longer navigating a complex world of angles and velocity. You are anchored. The body knows exactly where it is, held securely by the mattress. And this certainty allows the sense of balance to rest. This stillness of the inner ear sends a powerful confirmation to the brainstem. You are stopped. In the frantic motion of modern life, the sensation of stopping is rare and precious. It is a biological permission slip to cease all trajectory. You do not need to move forward, backward, or sideways. You have arrived at the center of your own existence. The constant subconscious calculation of where next dissolves into the simple static truth of here. You are a vessel at anchor, safe in the harbor of the night, and stillness travels through the water. Consider the biological altruism of your own cells. Each cell in your body is a distinct entity, yet it works tirelessly for the good of the whole. The heart cells contract not for themselves, but to feed the brain. The lung cells expand to oxygenate the liver. It is a perfect socialist utopia within your skin, a system where competition is unknown and cooperation is the only law. This inherent goodness, this structural selflessness, is the fabric of your life. You are alive because your parts know how to love one another through service. This internal harmony is a mirror of the external peace you seek. The body does not know how to exist in a state of permanent conflict. It is designed for homeostasis, which is just a biological word for peace. When you rest, you are allowing this natural order to assert itself. You are stepping back and letting the cooperative nature of your biology take the lead. The friction of the ego, the part of you that feels separate, fades, leaving only the unity of the organism, humming with the quiet work of mutual support. And the rhythm continues. The fascia, that connective web we spoke of, is also a communication network, conducting the piezoelectric signals of your body. In the stillness, this network becomes a superconductor of calm. The tension that blocks the flow of energy dissipates, allowing the subtle electrical currents of the body to move freely. You are a circuit of low-voltage light, glowing softly in the dark. The energy of your being is no longer jagged or spiked. It is a smooth, continuous wave, connecting the crown of the head to the soles of the feet in a loop of unbroken presence. There is a particular beauty in the relaxation of the tongue. It is a massive muscle, rooted deep in the throat, often holding the unsaid words of the day. As it falls away from the roof of the mouth, it widens and softens. This release opens the airway further, but it also signals a psychological release. The pressure to articulate, to define, to defend, it all resides in the tension of the tongue. When it goes slack, you are stepping into a pre-verbal peace, a place where truth does not need to be spoken to be felt, and peace hums through the body. The bone marrow, shielded deep within the hardest parts of you, is the nursery of your blood. Here, in the absolute dark and quiet of the skeletal interior, the stem cells are dividing. They are deciding what they will become. A red cell to carry air, a white cell to fight, a platelet to heal. This decision-making process is guided by the chemical environment. In the wash of sleep hormones, the signals are clear and calm. The body is producing the next generation of itself in a state of serenity, ensuring that the blood of tomorrow carries the memory of this rest. The concept of letting go is often seen as a spiritual practice, but it is primarily a neuromuscular one. To hold on requires energy. To let go requires only gravity. The natural state of the muscle is relaxation. Contraction is the effort. Therefore, to sleep is to stop working against the nature of the universe. You are ceasing the effort of holding yourself together and allowing the universe to hold you. It is the ultimate act of efficiency, a return to the path of least resistance. And life adjusts once more. The enzymes that drive your metabolism are temperature sensitive. As your body cools, their activity shifts. They move from the high-energy reactions of combustion to the slow, steady reactions of repair. It is a change in the industrial tempo of the body. The factories are not closing, but they are switching to the night shift, where the work is detailed and restorative. There is no rush on this assembly line. The enzymes work with a patient, molecular precision, stitching together the proteins that will form the structure of your strength. Even the DNA within the nucleus of your cells is undergoing maintenance. The double helix, the script of your life, is being checked for errors. Specialized repair proteins scan the strands, snipping out damage and patching the gaps. This genetic proofreading is most effective when the cell is not dividing, when the body is at rest. You are literally correcting the typos in the manuscript of your being. You are ensuring that the story of your life remains true to its original, healthy design. And the quiet deepens. The sensation of the body falling asleep is actually the sensation of the sensory inputs turning off one by one. First the vision, then the taste, then the smell, then the touch, and finally the hearing. It is a gradual withdrawal from the periphery to the center. You are retreating into the citadel of the self. This withdrawal is not an escape. It is a gathering of forces. You are calling your energy back from the edges of the world, concentrating it in the core where it can be renewed. The autonomic nervous system, the pilot of this journey, is ancient. It evolved in a world of tides and seasons, long before clocks and screens. When you sleep, you are reconnecting with that primordial timeline. You are living as your ancestors lived, in rhythm with the fading light. This connection to the deep past is a source of stability. You are not a modern anomaly. You are a continuation of a successful lineage of sleepers. You are doing exactly what life has always done to survive. And the current flows, without effort. The space between the heartbeats, the interbeat interval, is where the parasympathetic nervous system lives. A longer pause between beats indicates a deeper state of relaxation. As you sink deeper, these pauses lengthen. The heart is taking its time. It is luxuriating in the silence between the pulses. These micro moments of rest, added together, amount to thousands of beats saved over the course of the night. You are banking the heartbeats, extending the longevity of the engine by allowing it to idle so sweetly. The emotional memory of safety is stored not just in the brain, but in the body. The feeling of a warm bath, a hug, a sunbeam. These are somatic markers of goodness. In sleep, the body accesses this library of comfort. You might feel a sudden wave of warmth or a phantom sensation of being rocked. This is the body playing back its greatest hits of comfort, reminding you that you have been loved, that you have been safe, and that you have known peace before. And everything rests in its place. The darkness of the room is not a void. It is a blanket. It wraps around you, obscuring the boundaries of the room, making the space feel infinite and intimate at the same time. In the dark, you have no edges. You blend into the atmosphere. This blurring of the self is a relief from the sharp definitions of the ego. You do not need to be a specific person with a specific name right now. You can just be a breathing presence in the dark, vast and undefined. The production of saliva slows, the mouth becoming dry and quiet. The digestion pauses. The bladder relaxes. The body is minimizing its maintenance tasks to focus on the singular goal of cerebral restoration. It is a biological prioritization that places the mind at the top of the pyramid. The body serves the brain tonight, tending to the headquarters so that the commander can wake up clear and focused. It is a humble service performed by the organs for the sake of the consciousness, and silence follows. The vague images that drift across your mind, the hypnagogic hallucinations, are the brain playing with its screensaver. It is firing random neurons in the visual cortex, testing the circuits without any input from the eyes. These swirling colors and geometric shapes are the raw material of sight, unshaped by the world. They are beautiful, abstract, and meaningless. You can watch them like fireworks in a distant sky, knowing they require no interpretation, only observation. The concept of grounding is literal here. You are horizontal, maximizing your contact with the surface that supports you. You are as close to the earth as you can get. This position is the position of humility and stability. You cannot fall from the floor. You have reached the foundation. This physical certainty translates into an emotional solidity. You are starting from the ground up, rebuilding your sense of security on the bedrock of the earth itself, and the tide moves gently on. The subtle hum of the nervous system, which usually vibrates with the frequency of doing, has shifted to the frequency of being. This is a lower, slower vibration. It is the hum of a cello compared to the squeak of a violin. It resonates in the chest and the belly, a deep, mournful, beautiful sound of existence. You are tuning yourself to the key of rest, harmonizing with the slow vibrations of the sleeping world around you. There is a profound safety in the predictability of your own biology. You know that if you close your eyes, sleep will eventually come. You know that if you breathe, oxygen will enter. You can rely on the machinery of your own life. It has never failed you. It has been beating and breathing and cleaning since the moment you were born. This reliability is the ultimate bedrock of trust. You are carried by a faithful companion, your own body, and the network endures. The prefrontal cortex, the CEO of the brain, is the last to go offline. It is the part of you that plans, worries, and organizes. As it dims, the linear narrative of your life breaks down. You are no longer living in a story with a beginning, middle, and end. You are living in a moment. This freedom from narrative is the essence of dreamless sleep. You are liberated from the plot, free to simply exist as a character without a script, resting in the white space between the chapters. The chemistry of the brain is now dominated by galanin, a neuropeptide that promotes deep sleep and lowers blood pressure. It acts as a sedative, a natural tranquilizer produced by your own neurons. It is the molecule of enough. It signals that the day is done, the tasks are sufficient, and the effort can cease. You are marinating in this chemical signal of completion, feeling the profound satisfaction of having reached the finish line of the day, and peace lingers. Even the micro movements of the eyes, the saccades, have stopped. The gaze is fixed on the back of the eyelids, staring into the velvet void. This stillness of the eye leads to stillness of the mind. The visual system is the primary driver of attention. When it stops hunting, the mind stops hunting. You are no longer a predator of information. You are a grazer in the fields of sleep, consuming the quiet, finding nourishment in the absence of data. The connection between the sleeper and the stars is not just poetic, it is biological. The atoms in your body, the carbon, the nitrogen, the oxygen, were forged in the hearts of ancient stars. When you sleep, you are returning to the silence of space from which you came. You are a child of the universe, made of stardust, resting on a rock that drifts through the galaxy. The silence of the room is an echo of the silence of the cosmos, a reminder of your celestial heritage, and stillness travels through the water. As we approach the deepest phase of the night, the body becomes a fortress of peace. The walls are strong, the gates are locked, and the fire is warm. The sentries of the immune system pace the ramparts, the workers of the metabolism repair the stones, and the king, the conscious mind, sleeps safely in the tower. It is a kingdom at peace, a well-governed land where the citizens work in harmony for the good of the realm. You are the ruler of this quiet country, and your reign is one of gentle, restorative silence. The very air in the room seems to settle, becoming heavy and still. It is as if the atmosphere itself is respecting your rest, quieting its turbulence to match yours. You are in a bubble of coherence, a localized field of peace that you have generated. This field protects you, holds you, and keeps the chaos of the world at bay. You are safe here, in the center of your own creation, drifting slowly, steadily, towards the perfect silence of the deep, and the rhythm continues. The journey we have taken through the landscape of your biology brings us to a final, fundamental truth. You are a creature designed for peace. The architecture of your nerves, the chemistry of your blood, and the rhythm of your heart all converge on this single point of stillness. It is not an accident that you feel best when you are safe, loved, and rested. It is the very definition of your species. You are wired to seek the soft, the warm, and the quiet. The struggle and the noise are merely temporary states. The peace is your permanent home, the baseline to which you always return. In this deep state, the boundary between the internal and the external dissolves completely. The air you breathe becomes the blood you pump. The warmth of the room becomes the warmth of the skin. You're in a state of osmosis with the universe, exchanging matter and energy in a slow, silent loop. You are not separate from the world. You are woven into it. The safety you feel is the safety of belonging, of being a thread in the great fabric of life that is currently at rest. And life adjusts once more. The nervous system, having scanned the horizon and found no threats, finally lays down its telescope. The vigilance that kept you safe during the day is replaced by a profound faith in the night. This faith is not intellectual, it is cellular. It is the faith of the enzymes that continue to work in the dark, trusting that there will be energy tomorrow. It is the faith of the lungs that empty themselves, trusting that there will be more air. You are practicing the biology of trust with every moment of surrender. As the final layers of tension melt away, you are left with the core experience of existence, the simple, rhythmic sensation of being alive. There is no requirement to be productive, to be clever, or to be good. The body asks only that you be present to its rest. It offers you this time as a sanctuary, a period of grace where the only task is to receive the healing that is naturally yours. You are enough, just as you are, lying here in the quiet, and the quiet deepens. The concept of goodness is often debated by philosophers, but in the body, it is a simple physiological reality. Goodness is the state of connection, of repair, of coherence. It is the parasympathetic nervous system, holding you in its arms. It is the oxytocin repairing your heart. It is the synchronization of your breath with the atmosphere. When you sleep, you are embodying the goodness of your design. You are living proof that nature bends toward cooperation and calm. The silence that fills the room is not the absence of sound, but the presence of peace. It is a heavy, velvet silence that dampens the vibration of the world. It wraps around you like a second skin, protecting the delicate work of the dream. In this silence, you can hear the truth of your own nature, that you are a being made of soft materials and strong rhythms, built to last, built to heal, and built to rest, and the current flows without effort. We have traveled from the microscopic bridges of the synapses to the macroscopic rotation of the earth, and everywhere we have found the same law, the law of rhythm and recovery. The universe does not burn indefinitely. It breathes. Stars form and fade. Tides rise and fall. You wake and you sleep. You are following the oldest pattern in existence. By closing your eyes, you are aligning your small life with the great life of the cosmos. The night is no longer a dark void to be feared, but a rich medium of restoration. It is the soil in which the seed of tomorrow is planted. You are resting in the fertile ground of the dark, gathering the nutrients of silence and stillness. When the light returns, you will rise from this soil renewed. But for now, it is time to stay in the earth, to stay in the root, to stay in the deep, nourishing quiet. And stillness travels through the water. Your breath has become a whisper, a faint ripple on the surface of the silence. It moves without effort, powered by the autonomic wisdom that has never slept. It is the anchor that holds you here, the tether that connects the dreamer to the world. Follow it down, deeper and deeper into the calm. Let it lead you to the place where the biology of survival becomes the biology of peace. The heart beats on, steady and slow, a drum of safety in the center of the chest. It counts the moments of rest, banking them for the future. It speaks the language of continuity, assuring you that life goes on, that you are held, that you are safe. Listen to its rhythm. It is the sound of your own goodness, echoing in the dark. And the rhythm continues. As we reach the end of our journey, the scientific and the poetic merge into one simple feeling: heaviness. The heaviness of limbs that have done their work. The heaviness of eyelids that have seen enough. The heaviness of a mind that is ready to lay down its burden. This weight is a gift. It is gravity hugging you close, keeping you safe on the surface of this spinning world. The systems we have observed, the vagus nerve, the fascia, the mitochondria, the hormones, they all continue their silent symphony. They do not need your supervision. They function best when you are absent, so you can leave them to it. You can step back, fade out, and let the wisdom of the body take over completely. You have done your part. You have created the conditions for peace. Now, let the peace do the rest. And peace lingers. There is a profound humility in sleep. It is the admission that we are part of nature, subject to its laws and its needs. By accepting this need, you are accepting your place in the family of things. You are one with the sleeping bird, the dormant seed, the quiet ocean. You are part of the great global exhale. The darkness is now complete. The world outside has vanished, leaving only the sanctuary of the bed and the fortress of the body. You are safe in the center of the keep. The drawbridge is up. The waters of the moat are still. Nothing can disturb the king who rests in the tower of the self, and silence follows. If your eyes remain open, another journey awaits, the journey of the dawn, of light and movement and connection. But if sleep arrives, you are already home. You are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you were designed to do. You are a masterpiece of biology, resting in the hands of the universe. Sleep well, knowing that the machinery of your goodness is working in the dark, repairing the world within you, so that you may walk gently in the world without. Good night.